Hello! Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another Wednesday Watering with Voss and Fern. It's the day I pour myself some coffee, almost done with usually by the time I start filming this, and walk around my house, water my plants, check in, and I invite you to join me. Welcome. Today, I am very excited to be talking to you about fertilizer. It's pretty exciting for me. I don't know about you. Feeding your plants or fertilizing your plants is something that I've mentioned in a handful of these videos. And most recently when I did, I got a bunch of questions, and most of the questions were, where do I start? So that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going back to basics. We're going to talk about fertilizer. What is it? How should you use it? How often should you use it? All of those questions. And as I was compiling information for this Wednesday watering, I realized that there's a lot of information out there and it can be really overwhelming. So we're going to start really basic today and go in deeper in later videos. But today we're just going to be talking about where to start. Literally, what is your first step? So if you are not fertilizing at all, not feeding your plants at all, this is your video. If you are, but you want to take next steps, join us as well, and we will go down those, we'll follow those next steps together. Okay, so where to start? What is it, first of all? And even this, what is fertilizer, is a really big question and is going to need its own video. But what is it in terms of what do you need to go buy? When you go to the grocery store, the garden aisle of your grocery store or your hardware store or a plant shop to buy a fertilizer or a plant food, first answer to the first question, there is no difference between plant food and fertilizer. Those are terms that are used interchangeably. For the most part, again, we'll go in deeper later, but in terms of feeding your plant regularly, you could pick up something that says plant food or fertilizer. They're the same thing. The misnomer is you are not, in fact, feeding your plants. Your plant gets everything that it needs from the sun and the soil. Photosynthesis happens from sun and soil, and that is true. Your plant can survive without any kind of plant food or fertilizer, which is why I think a lot of us don't do it. And then it's so overwhelming to think about starting, so there's no need. But if you think about what you're looking for, the difference between a well-fertilized plant that's on like a healthy fertilizer regime and a plant that is not receiving any fertilizer, the difference is really that the plant that's not receiving any fertilizer is more like lackluster. And the plant that is receiving fertilizer, the growth is going to be more lush and full and strong during the growing season. The foliage is going to be, the color is going to be really vibrant and bright, strong colors. If it's a blooming variety, the blooms are going to be strong. That kind of stuff. You're basically looking at the difference between surviving and thriving. Which aren't we all walking that line? So let's help your plants, nudge them into the thriving category, and let's add a little plant food to the mix. So you're going to go to the grocery store, hardware store, the garden aisle, wherever you find your plant food fertilizers, and you're going to see a huge wall of a lot of different options. Let's start there. I'm going to show you the one example that I have to show you. I do not have multiple examples to show you because this is the one plant food that I have in my toolkit. This is it, because this is the one I grabbed. When this runs out, I will go grab another one that may or may not be this variety and or brand. Because what is happening here is there's a lot of marketing going on. Like there's a lot of liquid plant food, encourages new growth, has micronutrients. It's for flowers, tomatoes, roses, vegetables, trees, shrubs, annuals, perennials, houseplants, and there's pictures of just like abundance, and all of this is marketing. The one thing that you are going to look at is this little number. There's always a 3-part number on plant food that is, it's what it is your NPK ratio, because those are the 3 elements that make up fertilizer, which is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Potassium is K as per the periodic table. So you've got NPK ratio, and that's what this little number is. And those 3 things do different things. They add different value to your plants. And I will talk about that later. We're not going to get into that right now. If you are starting out, the thing that you are looking for is a well-rounded mix, which just means that no one ratio is much higher than any of the others. That's what you're going to look for. And what that is going to translate to in terms of like all this marketing stuff is it's probably going to say something like, it might say well-rounded, it might say mild or gentle, but it's definitely going to say like for all houseplants or for, you know, every variety. You're not going to look for, if you're looking for something for your general plant population, don't focus on blooms, because what you're going to see with blooms, without getting too much into what the ratio means, you're going to see one of the values is much higher than the other. You're looking for a well-rounded mix. And what you're going to see a lot of different options. And that those numbers could be low or high. You could see like a 2-4-2, or you could see a 10-15-10, or 20-30-20. You know, they can go, but that basically just means in terms of comparison to the overall medium. It's concentration levels. So you're going to pick a well-rounded mix. You could go organic, or you could go certified or synthetic, organic or synthetic. We will get into that in later videos and what that means, but that basically just means organically derived or synthetically created. And the difference there is really, it does not mean that your potassium is organically certified or organically grown. It just means that the NPK ratio is organically derived versus synthetically created. Synthetically created in a lab means that they can control the concentration a little bit more, so the numbers are going to be higher. That's like, this is a synthetic mix. It's a 10-15-10. Your organic mix is going to be closer to a 2-4-2 because the quantities and concentrations are just lower. You're going to look for a well-rounded mix. You're going to look for liquid. You will have solid options as well, but I'm going to suggest liquid to start. And here's what you're going to do. We're going to go through the process right here. There are instructions on the back. In general, what I'm going to say to you is read the instructions and then do half of what they say. So this says a tablespoon or a teaspoon per gallon of water. So I'm going to do a half. And what I do is I have a jug that is a gallon, and I take half a teaspoon and mix it in. Now you might be thinking, well, that wasn't very much. And the answer is, you are correct. A little goes a long way. Go back to that multivitamin analogy. If we're taking a multivitamin, it is in no way comparable volume-wise to the amount of liquid we're taking in every day or food we're taking in every day. It's a minuscule amount. These values go a long way. A little goes a long way. Less is more. Start small. So that's our mix. I then add that to, or like use that to refill my watering can, because it's easier to water from a watering can. And I water my plants. And you're going to water your plants the way you normally would, which is you check the soil to see if it needs to be watered. You then water well until it starts to drain. And then you're going to let it fully drain and dump off that drain water the same way that you normally water. So to start, how often are you adding this into your watering routine? Well, if you're watering or at least checking in on your plants once a week, I would say start out by introducing a liquid plant food every other week. And the only amendment that I will add to that, without getting into too much detail about varieties and all of that, which we will get to later, is if you have succulents or cactuses, I would add the fertilizer once a month. So your varieties that take less water, essentially, than your tropicals, your ferns, your leafy plants, those take more water. So they need more, they can handle more fertilizer. So you're gonna do those every other week. You're gonna do your succulents and cactuses and the like once a month. Start there, see how it goes, and we'll take it from there. And remember, we're always following the rule of do one thing at a time. So you're introducing this one thing to your plants right now. Introduce the one thing and then take a look. Listen to what your plants are telling you. Keep checking that soil. See if you notice a difference in growth. If you see any of the plants starting to freak out, if we've only done one thing, we know that it is a result of that one thing. So then you scale back. Give it some fresh water, no fertilizer for a while. Let it acclimate. And that's a great place to start. All right, I think we did a good, this is a good step one. Go get some stuff and start using it. All right, happy Wednesday. We'll see you next time.